"Don't forget to be at the banquet tonight, Stan," shouted my wife as she ran out the door. "It really means a lot to my career." "Don't worry, I'll be there," I promised. I finished my porridge, put the dishes in the sink, and put my cell phone on the table. Then I went back upstairs and changed into comfortable golf clothes. I threw my golf clubs and shoes into my car and drove off. I planned to meet up with a couple friends at a course in Kutztown, about 100 miles down the road. We got an 11:30 start. It was a beautiful fall day. There are some things in life you just can't buy. We finished the game at 3:30 p.m. and went into the clubhouse to eat. I hadn't seen Jack and Steve, two of my college buddies, in a few years, and we had a great time catching up. We ate and decided to play a few more holes as we were having a great time. We finished as it was getting dusk. "That was awesome," Jack grinned as we finished playing. "Do you have to leave right now, or can you have another drink with us, Stan? Have I ever turned down a drink, especially from such an obliging loser?" I laughed. "Let's go to the watering hole." We drank a couple beers and retold old war stories from our glory days. I caught myself thinking I was having a good time, and I should see Jack and Steve more often. As we got closer to the house, I felt my mood slowly deteriorate. Brandy would be furious when I walked through the door. I would have to deal with her anger and consider the best way to extinguish it. I laughed to myself when I realized I was thinking the impossible. She would be furious. "Where the hell have you been?" Those were her words of greeting when I walked into the living room. "I told you that this fucking banquet was very important to me, and for you to remember to be there by 6. "Sorry, darling. The boss sent me to Doylestown. Terrible traffic, I've just got back." "I spoke to Tom. He was home at 6:30. He said you took time off work and didn't go to work. He also left his cell phone on the kitchen table, so I couldn't contact you," Brandy yelled. "You're a bad liar and a pathetic fuck." "Well, now that we have that settled, I give up, honey." I smiled. "I'm exhausted." "Settled? What's settled? At this point, we've determined that you're lying to me." "What about telling the truth?" demanded Brandy. "I was stolen, along with my car, by pirates. They took me to an old warehouse to hold me for ransom, but some aliens dragged me onto their ship and stuck their probes into my teeth, eyes, and genitals," I replied. When they left the room, I was lucky enough to untie the knots in the rope they had tied me with. Then I had to figure out how to steer their ship. I accidentally flew into Scranton. Back I had to hitchhike with a trucker to get my car. But don't worry, I'm feeling pretty good. Just a little tired. Brandy looked at me like I was crazy. She was so pissed off she couldn't even put words together into a meaningful sentence for a few seconds. "Stan, what are you talking about? Stop bullshitting and tell me why you missed the banquet. You know it was important to me. I got a good promotion, and you were supposed to be there with me. It was extremely embarrassing that you weren't there," Brandy wheezed through gritted teeth. "I was playing golf with Jack and Steve, a couple of my old college buddies," I admitted. "They beat me at first, but I beat them by 30 feet on the 7th hole. I've been kicking their asses ever since. This new putter is a work of art. I swear I've hit a few shots at 300 yards. "Golf?" Brandy repeated incredulously. "You knew this dinner was very important to me, and you played golf? You planned it days in advance, didn't you? So why did you tell me you were going to be at my event if you weren't going to be there?" "I didn't want to hurt you, so I lied a little. I was hoping you wouldn't find out," I suggested. "Wouldn't find out? You didn't want to hurt me?" "Are you out of your mind, Stan?" Brandy asked. "How could I not notice that damn empty chair, you idiot? How did you not mean to offend me by not attending such an important event for me?" "In retrospect, I realize you had to guess," I admitted. "But at the time it seemed exciting and somehow different. It just happened. I never meant to hurt you. It's just golf, nothing personal." "Are you drunk or something? Did you and your old buddies smoke a joint, Stan?" Brandy asked. "You sound like you're out of your mind. I'm too tired to discuss your selfish, nasty behaviors tonight. You can sleep in one of the old nursery rooms. I don't want you to touch me or even talk to me for a while." "No problem, honey. I'll be quiet as a mouse," I promised. Brandy stared at me like I was some kind of insect she'd never seen before. I smiled and headed for Brian's room. Brandy and I had been married for 24 years. Both of our children were in college, and we were adjusting to the empty nest. I climbed into Brian's bed and fell fast asleep, repeating my best beats in my sleep. The next morning I was dressed for work. reading the paper and eating cereal when Brandy walked into the kitchen. "Don't think I'm done with you, Stan," she warned. "I don't know how or if you'll ever be able to make up to me for yesterday. I think you need to think about that yourself. I'll be working late tonight, so start your penance by cooking yourself dinner." "No problem, sweetie. I can take care of myself," I replied. "Have a good time." "I'm going to work." "What do you mean, have a good time?" Brandy demanded an answer. "Have a good day, be happy, don't worry about me, don't take any wooden nickels, whatever." It was just a steady expression. She looked at me like I had two heads, then turned and walked off to work. I picked up the phone and dialed my work number. I told them I wasn't feeling well and wouldn't be coming in today. I spent the morning shopping. I finally saw something I wanted at BSTU and ordered the biggest fucking flat-screen TV on the planet. I had it delivered the same day. Everything was set up and working perfectly in time for the evening news. It worked so well that I kept trying to look into the anchorwoman's cleavage. I felt like she was in the room with me. The TV took up an entire wall in the living room. It even made the closet door inaccessible, but it was worth it. I called a few guys from work and invited them over to watch the first game of the World Series, then ordered some pizza and ribs at another place down the road. When Brandy walked into the room, we were watching the third pitch. To say she looked surprised would be a huge understatement. She was actually at a loss for words. Harry, our accounting guy, saw her, jumped up, grabbed her hand, and shook it. "Congratulations on the promotion. That TV is really cool. Old Stan's a lucky guy to have a wife like you," he raved. Thank you very much," Brandy hesitated. "I'm really tired, so I'm going to leave you guys to watch the game and go to bed." "What was that? She really took it well." I wondered how angry she would be in the morning. I was dressed for work and reading the morning paper when Brandy walked into the kitchen. "You're going to get that damn monster out of here and back to the store before I get home from work tonight. Can you hear me, Stan?" Brandy shouted. "I can hear you, honey." "No need to raise your voice," I grinned. "I'm not deaf." The door slammed so hard, I thought the glass in the windows would shatter. She was hard to understand at times. "I was watching Cheers when Brandy walked into the living room tonight." "I thought I told you to return that thing today," she began. "You said you heard me and that I didn't need to raise my voice. Now I come home and the thing is still here," she shouted. "What part didn't you understand, you idiot?" "I've never understood why Norm is on this show," I replied. "He's not very funny." Foam and saliva flew out of Brandy's mouth as she tried to formulate a coherent sentence. Her face turned crimson. "Stan, listen to me. I wanted you to return the TV, but you didn't." "I didn't buy this thing to return it, honey," I smiled. "I like it, and I'm going to keep it." "I understood the words you spoke this morning. The problem you're facing right now is that I didn't follow your orders. Not that I didn't understand your words. It never occurred to Brandy that I would refuse to follow her direct order. This was new territory, and she was caught completely off guard." "What's happened to you lately, Stan? You miss an important event by making bullshit excuses, and then you order a huge and, I'm sure, very expensive television without discussing it with me." "Are you feeling okay?" she asked a little anxiously. "I'm feeling fine, darling. Thank you for asking. I knew that if I had asked about the TV, you would have said it was a bad idea. To save myself the heartache and not start an argument, I just ordered it. It's a lot easier and it doesn't hurt anyone," I added. "Nobody, Stan. It hurts like hell," Brandy growled. "This is really upsetting me. This thing is too big for the room. I can't even get a vacuum cleaner. You spent a lot of money on something that really doesn't fit our house and didn't consult me. How could you think it wouldn't hurt anyone?" "When you say that, I know what you mean. I can't do something just because it will make me happy and not think about how it will affect you, can I?" "That's exactly right, Stan. You've never done anything like this before. Why do you need to be taught all over again?" Brandy asked. "You're acting like a selfish child." "I think you're right. I'll return the TV on Monday, okay?" I replied. "I'd rather you did it tomorrow, Stan. I have to go to work tomorrow afternoon for a few hours. Working on Saturday is frustrating, but that's why I got the promotion," Brandy reasoned. "Please get him out of here when I get back tomorrow night." I nodded in agreement and went back to looking around at Shelley Long. I'd always had fantasies starring her. Saturday afternoon, I called Brandy's parents and invited them to have lunch with me. When we arrived at the cafe, I introduced everyone to Cindy Walsh, who was waiting there for me. Cindy looked tired and exhausted, and I wondered if she would be able to get by normally. Brandy's parents paid no attention to anything but the free lunch I treated them to. At 3 o'clock, we followed Cindy to her house and parked behind her in the driveway. Cindy offered us seats in her tastefully decorated living room. We sat there with Brandy's parents. Then Cindy walked over to the security system remote and pressed a few buttons. The noise was deafening, sirens howled, and a loud voice warned all intruders to leave the building immediately. It was quite intimidating. Suddenly the door swung open and Cindy's husband, Charles, ran into the room with a bat. He was completely naked and in a state of semi-excitement. Not recognizing because he didn't know either Brandy's parents or me, he swung the bat at us threateningly. Cindy remained out of his sight. "Get the hell out of here before I beat your brains out!" he shouted. "Get the hell out of here!" He pulled the bat back. For a second I thought I should pitch to him. Then he was stopped by a scream. "Mom! Dad! Stan! What are you doing here?" Brandy's parents looked away from the naked baseball player and saw Brandy standing in the doorway, pressing a sheet against his obviously naked body. "I invited them here to have some fun, Mrs. Burns," Cindy replied as she entered the room. "Charles was never good at hiding his affairs. I knew he brought a whore into our house when I told him I had to go to Philadelphia for the weekend. I even guessed it would be you, Mrs. Burns, after seeing how attentive he was to you last night at the banquet." I stood up and nodded to Brandy's parents. I walked over to Cindy and shook her hand. Then I shifted my gaze from Brandy's new boss, Charles, to Brandy herself. "Notre Dame is playing tonight, and I don't want to miss it on my big screen. When you're done, you're taking your parents home, right, Brandy?" I asked. "I'm sure they won't mind. Well, wait a little. I'll get some shit out of the house during the commercial, but it won't be the TV." The game was over, and I carried all of Brandy's clothes down the hall and into the living room. Then she meekly walked through the door, looked at all her personal belongings, and "Stan, please don't do this. It was just an affair, nothing more. I never meant for you to get hurt. You weren't supposed to find out about anything. You're supposed to trust me. We've had too many years together to throw it all away like that," she pleaded. "Not to find out? How could I not notice that damn empty chair, you idiot?" I asked, pointing to the chair. "This marriage was very important to me, and you just went and cheated. I love you, not him, Stan." "Maybe that's true, maybe it's not. It doesn't really matter anymore. You were furious when I played golf during an event that was very important to you. Your words, not mine. Sleeping with your boss is a little worse than wasting time on holes, isn't it, Brandy? I'm suffering, believe me, Stan. My dad called me all kinds of names. They think I'm a cheap whore, and I can't work with Charles again. Can't we put my affair behind us?" Brandy begged. "Your sex with another man is something I can put behind me, Brandy," I replied calmly. I saw her eyes glisten at my words, but then tears welled up as I finished my thought. "I can't get past the lies, the disrespect, and the inability to trust you. You've tasted something like that from me over the past few days. It's impossible to live with a man like that, isn't it? Take your bed, Brandy. My lawyer will contact you on Monday. The TV stays, and you don't."